Sir Louis Chua.
Question 12, please.
There is no evidence that private hire car or PHC companies have caused the increase in COE bid prices. LTA has been monitoring the market closely, and over the past year, the demand for COEs from PHC companies, as well as the overall PHC population, have been stable. Recognizing the role shared point-to-point or P2P transport plays in our land transport system, from 2012, taxi operators did not have to bid for a COE to register their taxis. Instead, they draw from the pool of Category E or open COEs and pay the Category A COE prevailing quota premium. Taxi availability standards were also introduced, and taxi operators can grow their fleets by up to 2% per annum, subject to meeting the standards. Unlike taxis, PHCs are essentially privately owned cars that have the flexibility and autonomy to take passengers, thereby augmenting our supply of P2P vehicles. Hence, PHCs are treated like privately owned cars under the vehicle quota system. Removing PHCs from the bidding pool and creating a new category with specific requirements, such as a minimum number of trips to prevent abuse, would be difficult to enforce and adds to the compliance costs for PHC operators, drivers, and ultimately consumers. LTA will continue to monitor the P2P sector and study schemes to for further enhancement.
Sir Louis Chua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've just got one SQ for the SMS. I think as SMS mentioned, in 2012, taxis were removed from the COE bidding system. And I think in July 2016, then Transport Minister, Mr. Khor shared that on PHVs, the government will monitor its rate of growth and uptake of COEs to see if a similar move will be appropriate. And I think if you look at the point-to-point transportation sector today, the number of PHVs are about 70,000 versus about close to, I think, about 14,000 taxis. So it's about 5 times more. And so in terms of the relevance of PHVs within this P2P sector, I think it is now much more than that for taxis. So just wondering if the SMS and the Ministry will consider having a similar treatment when it comes to COEs for both PHVs and taxis. Thank you.
As I've explained in my reply earlier, for PHCs, essentially, they have the autonomy and they have the flexibility to decide if they are going to pick up passengers. So basically, they are like privately owned cars. If they do take up passengers, it means it helps us supplement the P2P sector in terms of the vehicle population. But if you are going to put them like taxis into a separate category, as I've mentioned, first of all, there is additional difficulty because we will then have to have specific requirements like ensuring that they comply with minimum number of trips, and that's actually very difficult to enforce. It will add to compliance costs, which will eventually trickle to consumers. But in addition to that, this call or request to review COE categories is actually quite a perennial suggestion. Essentially there is a trade-off between having specific categories to meet specific requirements versus ensuring that there is sufficient quota, COE quota for that category. And actually, whether you have a specific category for PHC or something else, the fact is that it is going to lead to further fragmentation and volatility, particularly when COE supply is low. So if you are looking at COE premiums and so on, basically it's fundamentally demand and supply for vehicles that determines COE premiums. So as I've also said, we will continue to monitor the situation, and for PHC we have been closely watching the market, and there is really no evidence that the PHC companies have caused an increase in COE premiums. The population of PHCs is stable, and the demand for COEs have also remained stable. And in fact, the PHCs entities have actually not submitted bids or reserve prices which are higher than non-COE PHC entities.